ケンちゃん、ちょっと待って
Hello.
ね。
Okay.
はい、ケンちゃんどうぞ。Go ahead. ケンジ
Are we live?
Yeah. Yes, we are live. Go ahead.
We are
All right.
live. Okay. All right, guys. Week 3, episode 3. It's Tuesday. Today is what day is it today? The 8th, May 8th. Hope everybody had a good Cinco de Mayo. May 4th, Star Wars Day. So we're back, and again, we have a special
Everybody
guest.
had a
We
good.
have a guest from Dallas today. His name's Donnie. I'll let him do the quick intro, but as always, we're gonna go over. Uh, we're gonna have a brief intro from Donnie himself, then some questions about his group. Then we're gonna ask him how he got into Mahjong, and lastly, we're gonna ask him his future goals. So, Donnie, take it away.
All right. Hey, this is Donnie Clark. I'm with DFW Mahjong in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Give me your first question, man.
Sure. The first question is how you got into Mahjong.
All right. Well, personally, I got into Mahjong, what was it, back 2014. It's just kind of a, it started as, I guess, kind of as an exploration. Because I knew that there was this game out there. I knew it wasn't just a tile matching game that you played on, at work on your computer when on a Windows platform, and but it just wasn't something that was generally available. So, I kind of started looking for information and finding ways to figure out how to play. And, that's generally when I figured out that, oh my goodness, there's different ways to play. And ended up settling. Personally, I started with Riichi Mahjong because it seemed the most popular or effective style for playing on computer. Or there's a lot of digital Riichi Mahjong played like that, so there was stuff that was available, especially when you're kind of hunting around on your phone looking for apps or whatnot. So I actually learned to play through one of those apps that had a really good tutorial, but it's not available anymore, and I'm kind of sad about that because I'd like to.
Oh, I see.
People ask me
Is
how you
it
play. Huh?
Tenho?
No, it was the old Sony one, Janryumon, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Okay.
The NC Soft supported, but then they sort of did an update and stopped supporting it, so it doesn't function anymore. That kind of makes me sad. So
I see. So you got into Mahjong through online at first, like most of us out there. And let's go to the next question. What are your goals from this point on?
Well, right now, let's see. I started a community around here back to 2015. Is when I started putting up info on the internet, looking for other players in the area, and we've kind of grown a bit over the last few years. And our goals right now, we need to strengthen our local player base. So that's kind of my focus this year. Is to focus and grow the player base. We have a fairly steady group that play some Hong Kong style once a week. There's some Riichi players there as well, but I'd really like to build kind of a stronger Riichi presence here in the area. We kind of lost a few players over the last couple of years. So, getting out and starting more regular meetups, starting more practice sessions, things like that. That's kind of our immediate goals.
Okay. So I know, let's see. Some of you guys mentioned that Masa's audio was a little iffy, and so he has a new mic. I don't think Masa has spoken yet. Let's have Masa maybe ask him, Donnie, a few questions, because Masa played with Donnie a month ago at the DFW tournament. So
He was a
Masa
host, so he didn't play.
running.
Yeah, I was the official and the organizer for that event, so unfortunately I didn't get to play in that one either.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, yeah. But I did get a chance to have some conversation with Masa. He went with us to the escape room that we did as kind of a social event, as well as dinner and some in between.
Okay.
So, Masa, you got anything to shoot my way, sir?
No, I'm still working
Awesome.
on how to share those links. So sorry. I don't. So how did you guys started the DFW Riichi Mahjong Club? Like, how did you met the? I think one of your co-hosts was Daniel, right?
Daniel's one of our pretty strong supporters. He's been to a couple of tournaments elsewhere, and he's participated in the tournaments here, and he does a really good job, offering moral support and some logistical help in getting these things off the ground.
Just to make sure, this is Daske we're talking about.
No, not Daske. I have a Daniel here.
Daske.
Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Masa, you talking
another Daniel?
Oh, I do. Are you talking about Daske?
No, not Daske. The Daniel with the.
Yeah, I have a Daniel here. Daniel Burnham. He's one of our earliest players when we started organizing.
Okay.
He's one of the first suckers from my group of friends that I pulled into this madness.
Ah, I see. So, like Larina and Jason, you guys already knew each other before you formed DFW.
Yeah, we did a lot of board gaming together. We had a kind of a board game group, so that's where I kind of dug out some of my first test subjects.
I see.
So how long are you guys running this club?
Well, I started trying to put things together in 2015.
2015, so about 3
that's
years
one of our
now.
first. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe going on. Let's see. Yeah, 2015. It took me a little while to get the gumption up to really kind of put something out there. We still kind of had a local game going in the earlier days, like late 2014. But then, you really kind of, the more people you have around you that can play, the more opportunity you have to play. And that's kind of what my whole motivation was for was I want to play more. So, if I can find players, I'm going to just have to make some.
Yep.
And it goes from there.
So at the beginning
Earlier
of
you
your
mentioned
club, how many players did you had?
We had, including myself, 4 to 5.
Oh, what about now?
Our usual format, it was kind of fun. Our usual format, once we got a group of people together, was we would play Yakitori rules for breakfast, because we would meet Sunday mornings for breakfast, and whoever was Yakitori the week before had to plan breakfast for the next week, for the next meetup. And it was a really good fun. But those days back then, we could sit half the day and play one hanchan. We were that unfocused, I guess. We were having a very social time, a very social game, so things don't always progress as much as we like them to. When we're in a more competitive situation. So it was a very casual thing.
I see.
Yeah.
So I guess, well, of course, the first thing, the fun part has to come first, right? Otherwise, nobody's going to be able to continue to play such an intense game.
Yeah, I imagine
you
guys know that you get both sides of that continuum. The people that want really social games, and then they're really competitive, and kind of the gamut in between. Will go a lot of different ways.
So when you guys first started, one hanchan took you a few hours. Now, how long would it take for you guys?
Well, let's see. If I'm gauging by what we do on Thursday nights. Because we're still out in public at a restaurant, and it's kind of distracting. It can still take us 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Okay. I see.
But we do have side events or weekend games, or sometimes training games where we clock it at 60 or 90 minutes just to keep people focused. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have that tournament practice situation where you guys time yourselves?
I have done. It's been kind of lax lately because I got really, over the last year, I got really tied up selling a house, buying a new house, moving, and all this other fun stuff. But we're looking at a format that I'm trying to get our Sunday games back up again, and those are usually our reach days where we have slightly more focused play. So we're looking at a format to try and get more of a training focus, and I guess more of a dojo focus on those. That's just what we're really lacking, is kind of like a central location. That kind of hurts us.
I see. So, well, Las Vegas has a game venue. Luckily, LAPOM here in LA, we have a place. I know some other places out there, one of the members of the clubs, or maybe the leaders of the clubs, open up their house or guest house, and they bring people in. And I guess when you first started, you said you guys still play outside in public. And
Yeah.
when you guys do, what kind of venues or places do you guys usually play at?
The most regular setup we have right now is at a bar and grill.
Okay.
It's advertised as a sports bar. It's mostly a restaurant, with a bar, and they do a lot of other events. And that is actually operated by one of our members, Jenny, Witten's Bar and Grill over in Hearst. So she actually contacted me, maybe a year ago. Oh, geez, I don't remember exactly when it was that she contacted me asking to come teach them. Because she was familiar with some Hong Kong, and she wanted us to teach them a little bit of reach. So I went over there and we had a session, and then she just started running Thursday night events out of her place. So we kind of get reserved tables in the back, sometimes 3, sometimes 6 tables. Running both Hong Kong and reach. Or maybe they're doing MCR style now. I
see.
Yeah, but we get kind of a mix of a lot of different people. So it's still kind of noisy, it's still kind of distracting, but it's a good time, and you get the regular people showing up. So you get some challenging games and some good games from people that have an idea of what they're doing. And sometimes we get a lot of like last week we had 4 new players that showed up because the weekend before we attended the Spring Festival at the Japanese Garden over at the Fort Worth Botanical Garden.
Yeah.
This is our second time we've done that, and we just
I was looking at your Twitters, and then we see a couple photos on the Twitters.
Yeah. I was trying to keep some
there you go.
photos and whatnot up on that. And it's a really good time going out there. It's a beautiful garden, and they give us a couple of tents and some space to sit under, and just we had like 3 tables that would stay busy most of the day. Just teaching people the basics. We use the Tibet teaching rules to give people a basic foundation for just any, most kinds of Mahjong. I don't say every kind, but most kinds of Mahjong, and then try to entice them to come back. So we actually got 4 new players show up. Hopefully they'll be back again this week. I think they did a good job and had a good time last week. So
I see. Yeah, it must be nice to just play Mahjong outside in a nice little garden with a tent.
Yeah, I'm trying to convince them to let us come more often, just show up on a weekend and play under one of the under the patios.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But that's kind of an ongoing discussion with the city.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Does the city kind of I don't know, restricting is the right word, but kind of give you guys a little bit of a trouble when it comes to playing in public, especially in gardens?
In a park, it's not a big deal, but since this is a closed garden, my understanding is that there's a lot of influence from the city council that this is a garden, and there's a little bit of influence from the botanical society that the people that are there are supposed to be there to enjoy the plants, not to play frisbee or play games.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a well-tended garden, and it's just the only thing we trust with them, so that they understand that we're not there to tear up the garden. We're not there to cause a problem and make a mess. We're just there to just do this activity in a very, very nice outdoor setting. That's just going to take a little time, I think.
Yeah. So earlier you said you guys play at a dive bar, sports bar-ish place because one of the members play there.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. And I remember Michelle from Atlanta, our first guest, she said that as well. When she hosted meetups, she found that dive bars or sports bars, these places are pretty open when having these events. Other than the venue that I think your friend Jenny owns,
Uh-huh.
is there other places that you guys play at?
There are. We have an occasion way on the north side of town out in Denton that goes to like a bubble tea house.
Oh, okay.
Last weekend, we had kind of a pickup game at not a sports bar, but a straight up, bar. We just kind of ran one table out of there. That's one I had to kind of drop my kid over at mom's place because she's way too young to be going in there, kind of deal. But it was good. It was a nice pickup game. We're just going to have to take our own tables next time. So,
I see.
and let's see where else. We used to play at a coffee shop. That was kind of an old arrangement. If that's going to work out again, I've got to go talk to them. Where else? That's all that comes to mind immediately.
Oh, I see. So do you still rotate around these venues, or is it mostly at Jenny's place now?
The most frequent is over at Witten's at Jenny's place.
Oh, okay. I see.
Although, like I said, I'm trying to get some regular weekend games going now that I've got more time to the whole move is done. That they're trying to focus more on getting those back up again. What I was looking at doing is doing kind of on a rotational basis around the city because
I see.
I mean, you guys are out in Los Angeles, like it is. The city's big. It's hard for people to commute, 45 minutes for not when you don't have a fixed location to drive that far across town and not be sure if you're going to get a game or if you're so with the traffic. So we're looking at kind of rotating around town to
I see. All right.
Help out some of our more outlying members.
I see. So Donnie, other than yourself, are there any other like club leaders or partners that you guys have to help run the organization or group?
Yeah, I mean, I have the kind of the natural leaders that have spoken up. You see, I don't currently run this area or this group as a straight up club that has a hierarchical structure, or these are the people that are most experienced and these are the people that are responsible for this, that, or the other thing. I try to run this as a community.
Oh, okay.
Our biggest function, at least as we started out, our biggest function was just to get these people centralized to one platform or where everybody can kind of connect. If everybody up on like North Dallas kind of gets together, then they can have their own regular games and groups going up there, and then Arlington or mid cities can have a thing, or way up in Denton they can have a thing. And if people want to migrate between them, that's great. And my hope one day is that each of those maybe has a strong enough identity that we can actually start doing regional tournaments just among the different groups. Something a little more, something to make it a little more competitive. But what that requires is self-motivated people who can take that kind of initiative and also have enough players to support it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I do have a couple of people that have stepped up, Jenny being one because she hosts that regular thing out of her place. And then my guy up in Denton, Peter, has kept things running when I was preoccupied, and he tries his hardest to keep games rolling here and there. My brother's been trying to promote some extra games here and there. He's the guy that set the thing up over at the bar last week, and so always just on the lookout for self-motivated people who don't mind just posting a game to see who shows up.
I see. Yeah, having an extra hand always helps, especially when it comes to, I guess, running not just a weekly meetup or a monthly meetup, but in your cases, you guys host tournaments as well. So the DFW tournament that was last month, that Masa participated, and he, I think he got first place. I think he did.
Congratulations to Masa.
Yeah.
That was
congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I mean, the events. I know you guys did one last year as well. Yeah, and then the winner would qualify for the WRC 2017 seeding. And so WRC, we don't know exactly where the next location will be or when it's going to be hosted.
Yep.
But you guys still hosted one this year. Will the Dallas Fort Worth tournament be an annual thing?
I'm hoping so.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly have people asking me if it will be. There's some considerations that I have to make kind of going forward because it is very intensive on time and resources.
Yeah.
That the last couple of years, I'll be honest, I kind of kept it to myself because I was very particular about the kind of standard I wanted to set, and doling out responsibilities was sometimes a little bit hit or miss, and also I had certain expectations, and just sometimes it's kind of hard to let go of those details, But I think we've got kind of a good format, a good location, and hopefully I can get some people who are willing to step up and either just kind of take over, so maybe I can play, or put in a little more time making those things happen. Now, I don't want to say that the people in this area aren't willing to help. This is entirely my own doing. But yeah, hopefully it will be an annual thing. I would certainly like it to. And, we've made a lot of investment in resources this year that we won't have to make next time. So, it should be more viable.
For the tournaments, obviously you guys have a venue that you guys use. Hoping that you guys have a good relationship with them, and I guess looking forward to next year for us. I wasn't able to participate due to work schedules. I'm glad that one of us was able to participate. Hopefully next year we're going to be able to send more, have a more lively and fun competitive environment.
I would love to have more. You know what? 2017, Florida had one guy from Panhandle Mahjong. This year, I think they had 6 or 7. So they made a pretty good, strong showing. I would love to see more people from the West Coast. And we almost doubled the attendance for this year. Last year, I was short about people from doubling that attendance.
That's a great sign, though. I mean, whatever double it is, I'm hoping next year will be double or even triple.
I think they all came for the barbecue.
No, I actually realized that Dallas, Texas is really in the middle of the United States. And I see a lot of players from all over, like Seattle. I saw Seattle. I saw a couple from Illinois, LA, New York. And it's from everywhere, and it's good access.
We had some from Oklahoma, and we had a couple of guys from Canada.
Yeah,
and one from Nova Scotia, all the way out there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so it's like a central point compared to some of the other tournaments, right, Masa? I think we've seen maybe a stronger presence from the local community and not too much from the other states. But Dallas, just from those city names alone, there's a lot of people coming. Again, as Masa pointed out, maybe it's because it's in the middle point. We could all meet in the middle.
We are also fortunate to have an international airport here in Dallas Fort Worth, and I made very specific efforts to keep the venue very close to that.
Yeah, that's also another very important factor.
Yeah.
And
so
I also realized how the Donnie and other staffs run this tournament. It was pretty cool because right after each Hanchan, they all update the score pretty quick. And I'm showing on the screen right now. Like
other tournaments.
It was pretty fast.
It took me. I was using formula functions on a spreadsheet on like Google Sheets or Excel, and I had one built up the previous year that I made some improvements to. Kind of the things that if I had only known then what I know now. Made some refinements too that helped the update process quite a bit, though I think I would like to continue to find some way to make it a little more automatic because you know, as the event grows, it's just going to take a little more time because you're still manually inputting those scores. But you know, now you're talking about quite a bit more investment in technology, which is just going to cost money. You know. So
yeah, and not only that, he took the screenshot and then posting on the Twitter. So even though you actually went outside, still you could follow the scores. And then I was making my plan at the outside. That was really helpful.
So yeah, we did our best to, you know, kind of speed things up. I'll have a few more modifications for the next one. Hopefully that should come around. And you know, nowhere but up.
Also, refereeing is a very important factor when it comes to these tournaments. And I know some of the judge calls may be difficult depending on the situation. Sometimes they could, you know, sort it out amongst the players, but sometimes there's a slightly delicate situation. I've experienced that myself. And but at the same time, because you're the judge, you're able to kind of zoom out from the actual play and kind of oversee the whole event. And there was an article posted by Nicole from Mahjong News, and manners is another important thing. And this is something that at LAPOM we try to stress this as well. When you go to a tournament, you know, you want to have that professional mindset. We're not pros, but having that professional mindset, respecting your opponents. You know, even you guys posted out a article, right? The Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. That starting a game with that. Over compared to last year's tournament, do you see an improvement when it came to those manners, maybe some of the etiquettes?
You know, the first tournament we did, I did not really have any issues with players at all as far as manners go. What I did notice this year was, since that we had such a slightly larger and a little more of an eclectic collection of people, I did see people being exposed to a slightly higher level of respect and professionalism. That, you know, it's good for those people to see, and it's good for them to experience, and hopefully to emulate going forward, something they can kind of take with them when they go. One of those was, you know, this was the first time at any, you know, one of my 2 tournaments that you know, opponents were bowing to each other at the table. And sharing that sentiment, although I don't think a lot of them know what that meant, which is one of the reasons why I kind of want to share that. And put that out there. So, you know, slowly but surely, as that you know, that healthy mahjong kind of makes it around the globe a little bit, it's going to start infusing itself into the culture. Now, I do expect it. You know, we're always going to have outliers that you know, feel like that possibly those things don't apply to them, or they're just going to do it their own way, or potentially they just kind of woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and those always have to be dealt with. But as an official, as long as the players in the tournament are respecting the authority of the officials, then you shouldn't have a problem, or a bigger one than you already have. You know.
And you know, expecting an increase in players from this point on, that's going to be a hard thing to do. How many judges did you guys have in this previous tournament?
I had myself as the primary official, and then I had 2 of our local players standing by to assist. Not only in, you know, just validating scores at the end, but also responding if I was busy to questions. So in that way, I was kind of using this as a platform to kind of help groom a few of the local people here on what that experience is like on a small scale. You know, it was kind of quite a different experience initiating up at WRC. You know, and I was, you know, well impressed and, you know, disappointed in some players in you know, in equal measure in that whole thing, since we had people from all over the world. You know?
Standards are different. I guess cultural background.
Yeah, the
certain things might
cultural
change.
background actually did come in quite a lot more than I think I was prepared for, but it was a very
Yeah,
enlightening experience.
yeah. And you know, it's just funny, or maybe it's a coincidence that we see more of these articles this past week.
Uh-huh.
You guys, Nicole, you know, obviously saw that, and she kind of spread that out. And hopefully, you know, it's going to be easier for the judges and some of the calls made in the future tournaments
Well, you know,
because we do see an improvement.
as long as we just keep talking about it, you know.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And then there's, you know, those that are fairly resistant or hesitant to kind of follow that. You know, we'll get kind of that pressure from the other players who see this as a better way to go.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so as long as we keep talking about it, it'll keep moving forward and disseminate.
Yeah, because you know, Mahjong is not just the game and rules, but it starts from, you know, respecting your opponents, your fellow players, and it's part of the package is what we're trying to, I guess, spread. And we're not the only ones. Pretty sure the other communities out there believe in the same thing. Dealing with some of the rare cases, that's one of the tasks that I believe, you know, group leaders, uh, tournament runners would have to kind of bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one of the questions that we had. You know, on Facebook, Zach kind of asked us, you know, how hard was it to set a tournament up, and you know how it went. And another question that we got from him is, how do you start teaching advanced strategy with players?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I know the answer to that.
Okay, okay, I see, I see. That's a tough task. That's a question that
You
we
know,
get often too.
with hopeful coming of you know, obviously the most prevalent barrier to that is availability of advanced strategies worldwide. You know, most of it is concentrated. If we're talking Riichi Mahjong, then most of it's going to be focused in Japan because most of the material has been written in Japanese and it's been in the Japanese culture for years. And you know, as much as we all might like to take on another Japanese, but they still want to play Mahjong. So,
Yeah.
you know, getting that stuff available is one way. I think spending more time being group critical, which is one of the, when I said that we were looking at a more of a dojo format around here, that was one of the approaches I wanted to try at least, was be a little more group critical and doing, you know, like East only rounds, very short things that allow us the time to take a moment between each hand to analyze, ask questions, answer questions, or kind of critique. Why did you discard this over this? If you had done it this way, this is what you would see, and get a little more immediate feedback, so that you know, if we can't always have access to the tried and true strategies, we can maybe start hashing some ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not really sure how else, so I'm open to suggestions, you know.
I see. Well, Masa, what do we do at LAPOM?
We also have like a lot of discussion, but for beginner player, or they might take sometime as like you know, got blamed by advanced player, but it's actually not. Like advanced player, they try to you know, give them like another idea or the you know, the situation for the solution kind of stuff. So from LAPOM
Too many
right
options,
now, we're trying to tell teaching them also, but for whoever the new players, it's not blame. They need to have a, how do you say, Kenji-kun, もっとアドバイスを聞こうと。
To have to be open to taking advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Receptive to criticism, constructive criticism. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
that
That's
is
really
hard.
good answer. Yeah.
I think I think you know, if you're a strong teacher that has the capacity to pass on some of that information makes a big impact as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Just, to have that sort of immediate resource, it's kind of invaluable. That's one of the things that we're kind of lacking, specifically in this geographic area. I want to, give a shout out to Tina for, sharing her knowledge post tournament. That's been very, very helpful. But unfortunately, she's all the way down. It's more than just kind of a day trip to get her up here to play with us and
I see.
and share what she knows, if she would consent to doing,
Yeah.
She's a fairly skilled player, at least, as any of us around here are concerned. So.
Yeah, she was last year's champion, if I recall.
Yep.
Looked like she was going to take this year too, because she won a Yakuman.
Yeah, you know what? Tina was very consistent all the way through, and then Masa lands 94 points out of one Hanchan, and just kind of put himself in a position to to take over. That was very surprising, I think, to everybody.
Yeah. Never give up, that mentality. I guess that's something that would maybe answer that question. Strategic, never give up. Sometimes it's something so simple that we sometimes forget. But yeah, Tina is also another amazing player. We were able to talk with her at WRC last year. She
just for the people who don't know Tina, we're talking from Houston.
Okay, let me
she also had an article out. I think she posted something on Facebook. If you guys check that out. If not, definitely follow that, because she is bilingual. She speaks Japanese, so she has that previous Japanese experience playing, I think, with her family and things like that. But also her English skills is very good. So her article is really on point, easy to understand. Hoping that she's going to write more.
I'm looking forward to more from her.
We hope so.
Yeah. Kind of put her on the spot right now, but hopefully she does.
You know what? I think currently she is engaged in a 10-hour match, so she is probably not listening right this second, but she can bless her.
Don't worry.
That's another thing. Playing Tenho frequently. That's also another thing that you could do. At least, when you're not able to play with someone in person during your weekly or monthly meetups, play online. Tenho, I've never really tried out the English settings. I've heard that they've implemented that.
It works well. I use them every time.
Works pretty good?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a few things that it doesn't translate, such as when your bills come due and it throws up that notice, you kind of have to guess what that means, but when it sees it asking for yen, then it's a pretty good guess. But it's fairly well complete. It makes the navigation very easy, and it's been ridiculously useful for everybody here in North America to have a little bit easier access to navigating, especially after they changed the UI. Because you go through the Arcturus wiki, and they had a walkthrough for using which buttons to click to get to a game and what kind of game you wanted to play. It was all for the old UI, but now the UI changed. That wasn't up to date right away. I'm not sure if it is yet. I don't know.
Yeah, that part is I think it's different, because I play with the Japanese settings on, so it might be a little different.
So the English plugin for Chrome has been so useful. I can't recommend that enough.
So another question we have here is, how is the Japanese population now in Dallas? Because it's this part's not in the question, but I believe Toyota moved their headquarters from Torrance, California over to Dallas, so there should be an increase in Japanese population.
Well, we have one that plays with us now.
Oh, okay.
The kid, he's a Toyota employee. I'm not going to call him out by name. I'm going to leave that up to him. But the Japanese population here, it's growing a bit. It's going to be growing. So I know Dallas already has a Japanese or Japan Association, as well as a Japanese Business Association. But I'll be honest, man. Translating into more players here, as far in context of Mahjong, has been kind of tough. You know, with that group, and I don't know exactly why that demographic. You know, we have some speculations that range from everywhere from, you know, just local games, or they're just not finding us yet, all the way up to you know, those cultural borders, when you have expatriate business people here working for companies that don't want to be seen engaging in what is traditionally seen as gambling activity back home. You know, that hurt their reputation. And I really don't have a confirmation of any of that. But what I do notice is that we have a lot more engagement from more I guess traditionally American populations. I know that's kind of an oxymoron, but you know, not so much from a lot of the from Japanese. And I would love to have you know, people join us as well.
Yes, hopefully, you know, that's some of like LAPOM could do it. Like we could make the North America Riichi is like really like separate from the gamble, and then get more understanding for the Japanese players. Like, you know, they have like many of them living in the Dallas area right now, but Chicago, New York, we need to start reaching out those players too.
Yeah. I think as the visibility grows, and as well as kind of the stand, as I understand it, you know, there's kind of movements over in Japan as well, to kind of change the public face of Mahjong to something a little healthier. And as that perception changes, then, you know, just maybe a matter of time for the opinions to shift.
Yeah, slowly, but it definitely seems to be heading that direction. Some of the pros that we were luckily able to talk to in Vegas at WRC, most of them, they're saying the same thing. They're expecting the game to grow outside of Japan, and I think we could all see that it is right now. And the only way that would happen is to spread it in this, you know, Kenko healthy, more just pure competition based. It's not the gambling part, it's the competitive aspect. And they're routing for that to happen. They said that they would do anything to help. Might go back to that strategic question again, but some of them are trying to translate existing strategy books and publish it out. And they are trying what they can. Of course, they have their stuff going on in Japan, but other than that, they're planning to do stuff not just for the US, Europe as well, Australia, South America, including Brazil, because, you know, there's a lot of good players there too. Argentina, and we all, you know, we're lucky to meet them. And it's a global thing. It's a global thing now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
well, what other questions haven't we answered to satisfaction?
let me see here.
Did we really? Let's see. Did we really answer a question about running the tournament or organizing a tournament?
That part, I think we could go in a little more detail if we can. And again, we here at LAPOM, we've ran a couple events. Dallas has done it as well, and this will depend on your local community. It's going to differ on the city. Price is definitely going to be different. So, but keep that in mind. But the basis is the willingness, and I think it's going to be dedication and the people that you're going to do it with. That as a foundation. In Dallas, Donnie, if you could go into a little more detail, stuff that you haven't mentioned yet, the nitty-gritty part as well on how these tournaments came to place.
Okay, well, obviously, first thing, okay, so you've decided to run a tournament as an introduction. There's obviously more work than you're initially anticipating.
Yes.
You know, there's all these minute details. Do you have enough tables? Where are you going to get tables? Does your venue supply tables? Are you supplying tables? Do they have the right tables? You know, chairs, making sure you get tile sets. What kind of tile sets you're going to use? You know, are you going to try and keep them as uniform as possible, or you know, you're just going to scrape together whatever you can as long as they're, you know, clean and unmarked? Ridiculous stuff like that. And obviously, for each of those things that you have to answer for yourself, there's a cost involved for solving each one of those things. Getting a venue locked down. I mean, there's not as early as possible. You know, if you're fortunate to have space that you can rely on to be there for you. I think you guys have space there, right, in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That you can operate out of. You know, we're renting space for these events out of a convention center. But you know, if that's the case, then obviously getting that locked down as quick as possible, because there's not a whole lot of productive decisions you can make until you know that you actually have a place to hold your tournament and you've got it in writing. That there's a contract, that your deposit's been paid, or you just have you know, space. Each city obviously is going to have its own challenges. That's going to be different than everybody else's. You know, how are your players going to get to you? Where do you expect them to come from? You know, that was a big consideration for us when we were deciding where to host our event. Was you know, where exactly is Dallas Fort Worth is a big place. It's you know, basically two large cities, you know, probably about 20-30 miles apart, with a whole lot of mid cities in between. So you know, where are you going to do it in all of that? And so our primary concern was, well, if I intend on having visitors from out of state or even out of country, I want to make it as accessible as possible. Therefore, I need to keep it as close to the airport as possible, because one of the challenges here in Dallas Fort Worth is that the public transit system is not really universal across the city. So you're, you know, taking a taxi or you're getting an Uber, accessible as possible. So we stuck to Grapevine, which it's a city that is just on the north side of the airport. It abuts right up next to the airport. And usually you can get some kind of shuttle to hotels in the area out of there, or a very, very short ride just out of the airport to some local hotels that are just down the street from the convention center there in Grapevine. And Grapevine itself is a really, it's kind of a historic town. You know, believe it or not, here in the middle of Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, they've got vineyards and, you know, historic train areas and kind of a historic downtown. So it's kind of picturesque, and there's stuff to do. There's bars, and there's restaurants, and there's places to visit, and, you know, kind of boutiques and stuff. And there's, if you want to go visit vineyards, go visit vineyards. And then obviously staffing, to move on to the next thing. Who's going to help you? The big challenge that I'm going to give everybody this advice on, from personal experience, is find people that can help you, and don't try to do every stupid thing by yourself, because it's just going to burn you out. So, you know, find good people that can help you do it. Trust them with that. And then just get out of the way. It may not come out exactly like you had pictured in your head, but you know what? That's okay. If it works, let it function. So, and then it's you know, there's, I don't know how granular, or if we've already kind of gone on about this long enough. But, you know, how are you going to get your money? Where's your money going to go?
Yeah.
You know,
That's also another important thing.
Or can you charge money? Make sure that it's okay with your state, you know, city and state laws, that you can do this kind of thing.
Some places won't let you.
So, you know, obviously, you know, I want to put this out there. If anybody's got specific questions or just kind of wants to chat about it, I'm available through our group. Just you know, give me a shout and we'll get together and we can talk about that in detail if you've got anything else. But I'll quit rambling on about that now.
Nice.
Sorry, everybody.
You brought that up. Let's have a little time here. So how can they reach you?
Well, we have I have a Facebook page and a group. The Facebook page I use mostly for more official facings for events. The group is mostly for, I say mostly for orchestrating a lot of our local activities, but I do have a lot of people on that group from out of state, out of country, just that like to stay in touch. So I'm Donnie Clark. I can be reached through either the page or the group directly. We have a WordPress website at dfwriichi.wordpress.com. And there's a contact form there if they want to contact. You know, I'm on a couple of different Discord channels, and we also have a Twitter group at, oh goodness, what is my handle on Twitter?
We're gonna put on those links on the YouTube down below.
Oh, okay, awesome. I'm gonna pull it up here. Oh, it's just DFW Mahjong on Twitter, so that's just like it sounds.
Sweet. Okay. We have a couple more last minute questions that came in. This might be a player. So this person went to Texas. I probably said he competed. Didn't really say that. He said in general, the people in Texas seems to be really polite. Is that a normal thing?
Actually, yeah.
I hear a lot of like, sir, at the Texas, and I was kind of surprised too.
You know, we're still very, I wasn't actually born in Texas, but, you know, Texas is traditionally kind of part of the South, and except for, you know, it's got its own kind of seedy history. It's very conservative and liberal at the same time, depending on the topic. But yeah, people say sir, they say thank you, they say please. I have had such comments, not only from people overseas, but also, you know, coming from like New York or, you know, East Coast. You know, when you get up into some of those more heritage cities up there, you know, the attitude's a bit different. And, you know, I myself lived in Virginia. Thing that I didn't like was some of the personalities in the area. The country was beautiful. I looked forward to getting back to people down this way, because yeah, it is fairly normal.
Okay, some good old-fashioned manners.
Yeah,
found in Texas.
Yeah. Most times, don't hold everybody to that standard. Most times.
I really hope that happened in LA too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets a little, you know, a little funky in LA here and there, depending on the area. But
yeah. I actually was born and grew up down in San Bernardino. You know. So,
oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was. I'm not sure I want to go back. Sorry. I will come to LA, but yeah, I've been to SoCal. I'm not sure.
Well, since you mentioned coming to LA, you know, I know when you host your events in Dallas, you are not able to play. The only time you will be able to participate in bigger tournaments would be other tournaments. Do you have any plans in participating other ones in the future? You know, there's a couple that's going to be happening in the next few months or within the year. Next President's Day, it's going to be a team versus team tournament again here at LAPOM. If Dallas could get a group of 4 together and have a Dallas team compete, any thoughts on that part?
By when?
There's going to be multiple tournaments within the year. I know that for sure. Some of them have been announced. Some of them may have not been, but I've heard stuff that things will happen. That and LAPOM's team versus team tournament will be President's Day weekend 2019. So that's next year. You have a little more than a year to
Perhaps. All things are possible. I say as soon as we start getting some more competitive and training regimen going around here, I think we could probably put a team together that could make a show. I can't obviously promise on behalf of anybody else, but I would certainly like to. I do have some other plans. We are already booked to go over to the Emerald Coast tournament for Panhandle Mahjong. We're gonna 3, 4 that I know of, possibly 5 players from Dallas. Actually, I might bump that to 6, possible. 3 or 4 that I know for sure. I know that doesn't sound right. 3 or 4 that I know for sure. I do believe at least 4.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's see, when is their tournament? Their tournament is I have that for August, right? August August 11th and 12th. Is that right? Yeah.
And,
so we're gonna we'll be going to that. I tentatively have plans to be out on the East Coast for the North American Open. I know information on that is still kind of developing. So
yeah, we're still waiting on that.
Yeah. Those are the only 2 things
on radar. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, Donnie, good luck and give you your best shot, okay?
I will, man. I will.
Yeah, it's the only time. Some of us at LAPOM too, when we run tournaments, if you're there running, that's one thing. But you see these amazing matches, and immediately you want to play, but you can't.
Yeah, you know what? From one of my brother, he was one of the guys that was helping. It was one thing he said to me later was one of the to paraphrase one of the only thing more frustrating than you know how Mahjong is. You hate it. The only thing that's frustrating than sitting down to play Mahjong, other people sit down and play Mahjong.
Let's see. This might be the last question that I have here, but other than Mahjong, what do you like to do on the side?
Oh dear. I plug into some video games every now and again. The time is taken up with my family. We have so I'm a stay-at-home dad. Homeschools our daughter. A lot of my up with doing things with her or for her, and just being the house mouse and taking care of the stuff that needs to be taken care of here.
I see.
Outside of that, I don't know. Mahjong's kind of my biggest addiction.
Does your daughter play, or will she play in the future?
She does actually. I tried to teach her Riichi, but it was a little too much overhead for her. But she's 10 years old, and she's taken to Hong Kong since.
Oh, really?
It's a little more or a little less stringent on its form. So she likes to go out with us to Witten's on those Thursday nights, and she'll sit down and play at one of the tables there. So yeah, she plays, and it's great to see.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see her in one of the tournaments. Might be a child prodigy in the making. It is about that hour went by pretty fast. I think that's it for me. Any last questions, Masa?
Yes, I actually have a last question for you, Donnie. So, are we Mahjong friends?
Are you asking me if we're friends?
Yes.
Say that one more time. Maybe he didn't hear you.
So, are we Mahjong friends?
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes, we made a new friend.
I see where you're going with that. Yes. No Mahjong friends, sir. And I will reach out to you if I need anything.
All right, there you go. So, you future listeners out there, when Masa asked that question, you know exactly how to answer. Donnie made a perfect example.
You heard it here first.
How you answer.
That's how you answer.
Well, yeah, that hour went by fast. I mean, hopefully all the listeners out there, if not, if some of you guys are still at work, I know the East Coast folks it's past midnight maybe, so you guys might be listening to this the next day. There was a lot of information that we got from Donnie from running these tournaments. I don't think we've gotten that on the show just yet. Again, thank you, Donnie, for your time. We look forward to seeing you at which Masa-san, is there any plans for the tournaments, upcoming tournaments that we might see him at?
Maybe Florida or the U.S. Open.
One of them? Okay.
One of them, yeah.
We'll see which one of us will be going, but we will definitely see you very soon. Yeah, I mean, another great episode, I hope. Masa-san, are we going to do something special right after this?
Yes, right after this, we're going to have a special edition of Reach Out to Mahjong Friends. So stay tuned.
So in a few minutes after this one, we're going to have another episode right away, I think. So keep on a lookout or lookout. Is that right? Anyways, again, thank you so much for your time, Donnie.
Thank you very much,
week,
Donnie.
You guys know where to find us, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yep, keep on playing Mahjong, guys. See you next time.
See ya.
Good night.